Okay, welcome back. We have with us this segment Mr. Ted Hayes. Ted and I are working on a few things, working on the immigration issue. You know, immigration reform is going to have a devastating impact on Black Americans and poor Americans in this country. But Mr. Hayes has been involved in just some tremendous efforts to right wrongs and call attention to issues that need addressing, that have not been addressed, that should be addressed by our great nation. Welcome, Mr. Hayes. How are you, sir?
Charles Butler, thank you, better for hearing your voice and better for being on our program today to share with you and your listeners my views.
So what are you up to, sir, besides taking care of business and making sure people are being taken care of?
I'm trying to, if it's possible, change the fate of this nation in the way that it's trending towards I consider sudden destruction, which I think Dr. King had prophesied about 50 years ago, that if the nation returned to business as usual, that it would have a rude awakening. What I'm talking about for the listeners is that in 1963 there was a march led by various Negro groups at the time called Negroes, colored people, on Washington, D.C. for civil rights, jobs, justice, immigration, all that stuff. And King made that great speech everybody loves him for, I Have a Dream. And unfortunately, Brother Butler, too many people look at the second half of Dr. King's speech and forget about the first half in which he talked about the promissory note being cashed. And he went on to say, though, however, as of that day, if the nation returned to business as usual and no longer focus on this business, it will one day have a rude awakening. And I think that that's where we are right now in the beginning of that. So that's what I'm trying to do, God willing, is to avert that.
Okay.
Now, I would like to say this, too, though, so you and the listeners can get a better understanding of who I am. You can go to my website, tedhayes.us, and you can read some of my pretty edgy philosophical thinking. But I got involved with this issue of the invasion of our country by civilian citizens from other countries, which they erroneously call illegal immigration. I got involved in that because I'm an activist for the homeless. I've been an activist for the homeless for 27 years, and I've always had a mindset to defend those, to defend myself first and foremost, and then to defend those who cannot defend themselves. That's what my mom and my daddy taught me, and that's always been pretty much the reason why I got in fist fights in school, was because I was usually in a fight defending some cat who couldn't defend himself. But as someone who I think anyway knows a little bit about the Judeo-Christian ethics in the Bible and the God we say we believe in, I realized through some prompting from my God that I had to go and live amongst the homeless, which I did do. And I've lived amongst the homeless, and for the purpose of learning it, smelling it, tasting it, seeing what it is, and trying to find if there was a way of resolving the issue. And so for like 8 years, I slept on the streets and sidewalks of downtown Los Angeles, and alleys and in cars and buses and wherever we could be. And I had a group of homeless men and women that were always with me all the time. We moved around the city like urban nomads. And then eventually we opened up our dream concept for addressing homelessness in the first stages was called the Dome Village, which was set up in downtown L.A. It was a series of like 20 domes where 2 to 4 people could stay in a dome. We had men, women, children, pets, everybody was all mixed in together. We had a small microcosm, as it were, of society.
Right.
One day, as I was out in South Central L.A. On different businesses, a young black man, a former Marine, Jim Spencer, approached me, and he said, brother, we appreciate your work for the homeless, but you ain't going to be able to do nothing for homeless people or veterans until you deal with the issue of illegal immigration. Illegal aliens, he called them. I didn't want to hear that, Mr. Butler, y'all, because I knew who he was talking about. He was talking about Hispanic, Latinos, Mexicans. I had a bunch of Mexican friends. I was considered in L.A. a hero of the Mexican Hispanic people. I had a cricket team, a world-renowned cricket team made of Hispanic, Latino, Mexican boys out of Compton, straight out of Compton, where Eazy-E and all them cats jumped off at. And so, what's that?
That's just the...
Yeah,
that's
I got it.
Sirens in the background.
Yeah,
I'm
Chicago
downtown.
noise.
Yeah, downtown, man.
and
you know, man, they're not going anywhere. That's the bad thing about it. They ain't going nowhere.
They ain't going nowhere. Just making noise, huh?
Just making noise, man. They ain't going nowhere.
Going to get some coffee and donuts.
Yeah. You know.
Anyway, I you know, I'm really close with Hispanic, Latino, Mexican people here. I'm considered a hero. In fact, I used to march and demonstrate on behalf of the illegal aliens when they had an urban farm here in the downtown area. They were trying to shut it down. I stood up, say puede, y'all get away, and all kind of stuff. Anyway, the point is, I did not want to deal with this issue. Every time that brother would run into me in South Central, he'd get in my face about it. And I got tired of that. And I had to disappear for 4 months. I had to go and pray and study and research and figure this mess out because I'm in deep, deep trouble. And it boiled down to I realized that the brother was right. He was right. And it's time that I step in. Because the movement here in L.A. was looking for somebody prominent because there was no African-American leaders, elected or public officials, who would stand up. I'm pretty visible here in L.A. So he figured, maybe get Ted Hayes involved, maybe it'll change. So he finally got me, and I studied and prayed and realized he's right. So I held a news conference, and we came out. I came out the closet, and boy, did I catch hell from the Hispanic Latino community. And to this day, my life is under threat because of it. So that's how I got involved with this thing. And the more I researched and studied, the more I studied the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, particularly the Civil Rights Act of 1866. I reread Dr. King's speech and so forth and so on, and Malcolm X. And I began to put some stuff together, and I realized, oh, I get it, God. I see what you're up to now. So that's how I'm here. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, well.
That's a lot. That's a lot to mess with.
Hey, but you got there. But listen, Ted, you got there.
Yes, sir.
That's the difference. Some people never get there.
No, they don't. No.
Some people never get there. You got there. At least you got there. I give you credit for that. You know, when a lot of times when I talk to people about the issue, they get all emotional and they're like, "Well, I have Latino friends." Well, yeah, those Latino friends may be Americans, but there are people who are here who are not Americans, and
that's right.
They're impacting this country in a very negative way. I mean, you look at L.A. You look at how you can't get a job in some places unless you speak Spanglish.
You got it, brother. They'll say bilingual required, but what they mean is you can speak Spanish, you'll be all right.
They mean Spanglish. You can speak Spanish. Let's be clear. You have to speak Spanglish. That's like, I mean, what these people speak in North America is not Spanish. It's Spanglish.
Of course it isn't. Yeah, okay, I got it now. Sure. Because from when I hear the Spanish, they don't recognize the stuff that they talk over here.
Hey,
the Spanish
man,
themselves don't recognize it.
Hey, this is worse than, let's say with Ebonics, you and I can at least piece together what somebody's trying to say.
Yeah.
You know, with Spanglish, they don't even try. They like, hey, we don't even recognize, these people are second-class citizens. And, and that's the other thing about this whole thing. That I think several things that have made America great have been the fact that we speak one common language, we have one common currency, and we have one set of laws. And the other thing is, I should say, and one additional thing is, we all aspire to be what? Americans. We don't say we're French American or European American. People say I'm
African American. Hey, Mr. Butler, we say African American though.
Well, that's why. Wait a minute. There is no such thing as an African American, except for people like Barack Obama, who is from Africa. Other than that, the bottom line is we know now that all of mankind emanated from the great continent of Africa.
So everybody's African American,
everybody who's here is African American. That's right. So
I like that. Good insight, brother. Good insight.
So you look at this.
I'm gonna borrow that, okay? I'm gonna use that.
Well, make sure you give me a little credit the first 3 or 4 times. Okay.
I'll say CB. They'll get it.
So,
that's a good saying, though. I will.
But this term African American was created in 1986 by Jesse Jackson.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
No, that's all true. It's not a fallacy. It's true.
What was his thinking on that? He
you have to
opened the door wide open.
You have to understand. Jesse has one thing and one thing only is his mission, and that's to be an agitator to white America and to be a thorn in the side of he's an agitator to white America, and he wants to keep black America segregated from mainstream America so they'll be beholden supposedly to him.
Keep him employed. Keep him employed.
Yeah, keeping him employed because he's a poverty pimp. Now, and I hope you're listening, Reverend Jackson. I know we talked the other night. I hope you're listening because I'm serious about this march and calling you out and exposing you and Sharpton for being paid by La Raza. I'm about.
Wait a minute.
Okay?
Hold up. Wait a minute. Now you just said something there. You said, so I know I get accused of being paid by the Tea Party and conservatives and the Minutemen and all that. I wish I was getting paid. I'd be right out front say it, but I'm not getting paid. You mean tell? How do you know Jesse Jackson being paid? Him and Al Sharpton by the Raza and them cats. That's an interesting point.
But they don't do anything without being paid. Let's be clear.
Right.
Ted. Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton don't do anything unless you pay them. I know that firsthand.
Wow. Not even for our people's sake?
Is that a rhetorical question? Not even for our people? That must be a rhetorical question. Yeah. They're not concerned about the people. They're concerned about padding their pocket. Sharpton, Jackson, Al Sharpton got hit. This is how Al plays. I'm in a hotel at the Ritz-Carlton. Al comes up to the concierge floor, this little special floor, right? We up there, my wife and I up there having a drink. Black man, black woman, we're the only ones up there. This Negro looks and sees us. He turns up his nose with his poverty pimp ass and walks away from us. Now, the guy who brought him up, who paid for his room, is a good friend of mine, right? And the guy comes out, he says, man, I'm sorry, because I got up to go over and say hello to him. And that's how he played me. He can kiss my black ass. I'll say that again. He can kiss my black ass. You want me to say that again? He can kiss, Al Sharpton can kiss my black ass.
Oh, my
with
God.
With his, I didn't say poor, with his poverty pimp ass, hair weighing Negro behind. How about that, Ted?
Well, they love him over at MSNBC. They love him big time over there. So you messing with their icon. He's loved by them people.
Ted, he's not loved by those people. They're just showing. They're showing how an ignorant Negro, how an ignorant, loudmouth Negro can. I mean, this man is a caricature, man, at best. I mean, he has no intelligence. He splits verbs. He's not well-spoken. Dr. King had a Ph.D. How does this Negro from the ghetto with no education think he can lead a race? That's how stupid he is. He ain't read no book. I didn't say he hasn't read any books. Hey, I didn't say he hasn't read. He ain't read no books. Okay?
But Mr. Butler, what does that
Wrap
say?
on now.
What does that say about black folks embracing him the way they do, and other Americans embracing him, and the so-called white conservatives bowing down to him and accepting his bull defecation? What does that say about them? You mentioned earlier our people are unsophisticated, are politically unsophisticated. Could it be that most of America is politically unsophisticated? If they're going to embrace Al Sharpton of all people, as you described him, which I agree with you 100%.
But get on Sharpton.
I'm sorry?
You need to get on Sharpton, man.
Oh, I did. I got Sharpton. I'm just wondering what is up with the American people. Now that white guy, the fat white guy, did the Fahrenheit 9/11. What do you call it? You know, the white dude. He did a documentary about 9/11. I can't think of his name right now. Anyway, when he was in France, he said, this is like during 2004, he said the American people are stupid. I took offense to it at first. But as time went on, I began to realize, you know what?
Hold on, wait, Ted. You took offense to what?
Michael Moore. Michael Moore was his name. Michael Moore was in France around 2004, 2005. And he straight up said the American people are stupid. And I took offense to him saying that.
Why? They are.
Me too, man.
Well,
I'm American. So
yeah,
I
talk about you.
to it. But as I thought about it, I realized, it's an unfortunate thing, but sure enough, they're definitely proving themselves stupid. Just the fact that they would elect Mr. Obama as president showed me how stupid these people are. When the man told them what he was going to do to us. And now they want to act like, oh, he's such a bad guy. That's terrible. No. As Charles Manson said, if y'all hate me, you hate yourselves, because I am the product of you, America. See, in my opinion, we created Barack Obama. We created all this mess. We created the illegal immigration movement. We created the Muslim incursion. America created all this mess that America suffered because America failed to finish the business of living up to its creed, that Declaration of Independence and the civil rights of the 14th Amendment, et cetera, et cetera. We are reaping what we have sown.
Okay.
And I would, for example, when they talk about all these folks out here, particularly white folks, about how bad illegal immigration is on all Americans, but particularly upon black people. So therefore, you black people get out here and make up some noise for America. Okay, fine. But the question is, how did these illegal people get in the country in the first place? We sure didn't hire them. How did they get up in here? Conservatives and liberals brought them people up in here for cheap labor instead of finishing the business with us and seeing to it that what was due
well,
us
let me just say this.
Then they wouldn't have left that vacuum open for all this to happen.
Let me say this, Ted, so that
yes,
we're clear here.
Sure.
When you have the poverty pimps saying that black folks, you too good to wait tables. Black folks, you too good to do this. Black folks, you too good to do that. When waiting tables put many a black man and woman through college. Shining shoes put many a black woman through college.
Cutting grass, changing babies' diapers.
Put many a black man and woman I know through college. Okay.
That's right.
But those Negroes, after Dr. King died, they co-opted the race. I was looking at a clip of Jesse Jackson speaking at the L.A. Coliseum. He hollered, "You are somebody. Even if you poor and you uneducated, you somebody." Well, I got news for you, Reverend Jackson. You may be somebody, but you're still a poor, dumb, black person in America. So what good does that do you? I mean, I had a teacher come up and tell me, this lady, let me just take 30 seconds to tell this. I was at a driving range, and a black policewoman came up to me, and I thought she was going to give me a ticket.
Right.
So I said, "I'm putting some money in the meter." She said, "Oh, no, I got you. Don't worry about it." And we started talking. So she found out who I was, and she said, "Oh, I used to listen to you on the radio all the time. You made a lot of sense." And I said, "Well," and then she started telling me about Jesse Jackson, how she was a high school teacher, and Jesse used to come to her high school, and he'd tell these kids, "You don't have to learn. You somebody. You can be black and dumb. You somebody." She said she looked at these kids cheering this and go, "Well, how in the hell are we supposed to teach them anything when this Negro stand up here telling them, you don't need to learn. You somebody. They got to deal with you because you somebody. Ain't nobody got to deal with you. Nobody has to deal with you." Yeah. See, that's what people don't understand. No one owes you anything.
Yeah. I remember, you obviously remember this, a while back there was a riot at a high school out there, night football game, and turned out it was a bunch of black kids beating up black kids. So the principal expelled them. So the principal expelled the thugs. Jesse Jackson demanded that they be put back in school or was considered racist. I remember that very clearly. And a lot of my white friends around me were scratching their heads.
I remember the two black kids were fighting in the stands.
Yeah. Something like that. And they got expelled. And Jesse Jackson said that's racism.
He said the time was too long.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So no, you're right about that. Jesse has, and he and Al Sharpton, and I tell you something, I see it out in L.A.
Man.
I see it out in L.A. too, where a lot of these former gangsters got converted supposedly, and they became what we call out here prevention activists.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they
Well,
get
you know what?
money,
You know what? You know what?
money.
They got. Wait a minute. They got that play. They got that play from Chicago. We have something here called we got something here called ceasefire, and their thing is if you cease the fire, then their jobs go away. The state gave them, but that's how dumb white folks is. See, the white folks gave them. The white folks gave them $20 million to go talk to gangbangers about not fighting. I say that $20 million would have better been spent on funding the National Guard or the Marine Corps to come in here and kill some of these gang members and send them a message. Brother, these ain't your streets.
I have heard that.
You don't pay no taxes on these streets. You don't pay no mortgage. You don't have no territory because you don't pay no mortgage on no territory.
Right.
And by the way, you cannot terrorize our citizens. You, gang member, cannot terrorize American citizens.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, there was a movement out here in L.A. as well where some of the populace here just got sick and tired of things, and they were starting to look into calling in the National Guard to shut this mess down out here. Things have gotten
I called on the National Guard in 2007 to come in here. I called on the mayor, and I called on President Bush. The people embraced me. And then the people embraced me. So the community activists and the preachers said I was right. Everybody said I was right. So when we had the McDonald case, the McDonald versus the city of Chicago, the gun case, Judge Alito even referenced a couple of state reps that called for the National Guard to come in here. He referenced that. That's how bad the killing was. But those guys stole that from me and admitted that they stole it from me.
How come they didn't follow through with it?
Because it's too political.
I see.
That's why. It's very political. And the bottom line is, and the other thing is, hey, this is the other thing. There are no white kids being killed.
Well, hello,
how about that?
Ding, ding, knock, knock.
How about
Anybody
that?
Home?
How about that? In 2008, 2009, we had 399 CPS school children wounded. We had 144 killed. Now, if 5 of those 144 killed had been white, now they would have said, we're going to take all the guns. We're going to come in and we're going to kill all the gang members. You kill 4 of ours, but they killed 144 black and brown children in this city in one year. It's not much better, and nobody said anything. No TV cameras, no nothing.
Yeah. I guess they prefer what's going on in Chicago right now. Every week we hear how many young men, particularly black young men and women, are being killed out there in Chicago.
Man, but they passed legislation. They passed legislation because a few white people were being bumped into by black kids, by mobs of black kids, a mob being maybe 30 people, 40 people, a mob of black kids bumping into white shoppers on Michigan Avenue. So they passed a new ordinance saying if you meet by media in a mass, then it's a felony and we're going to put you in prison.
Wow.
Oh man, don't get me started.
Do that stuff in your neighborhood.
Don't get exactly. And that's exactly what they said. They're not interested in stopping the crime and carnage in black neighborhoods. And I will argue Governor Quinn. I'll argue these poverty pimps. I'll argue but the poverty pimps need. You have to remember the poverty pimps need the chaos in order to have a job. I.e. Jackson and the rest. Yeah. That's why they don't say, "Hey, Shanae, that doesn't cut it. You should be call yourself John, Mary. You should assimilate." No, they're gonna try. They push this thing of trying not to assimilate, like somebody cares about these people who are not assimilating. I can tell you right now, when I see Shanae, Jahuka, or Joanna, all these crazy, I don't even bother. To read any further. And you know why? And it's not fair. It's not fair. I realize that it's not fair. but I just don't even want to deal with it.
Right.
I don't even want to deal with the craziness because you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me when you go into a store and you're trying to be nice to a checkout person, and you say, "Well, hi, Shawanda. How are you? My name's not Shawanda, it's Shawina." Excuse me? Well, you should know how to spell. I said, your mama should know how to spell. That's Shawanda.
That's too much, man.
I was like, why would your mama name you a crazy ass name like that anyway? Is that supposed to be cute?
In the first place. But again, our people are very, 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 very lost there. Along this line of
they've lost their way, man. They've lost their way.
And it's our job to go find them lost sheep and bring them home.
Well, you go find them. You know what? You can't bring them back, baby. You can't bring them back.
Well, I'm gonna take them on to somewhere else. I'm gonna take them to the promised land somewhere. That's.
Well, you know what?
Because ain't no place back here for them. That's why when I hear conservatives say things like America's dead, Obama killed America, I say, well, I'm glad
you ain't conservative saying that. You ain't conservative saying that. We taking the country back.
And I always, and part two of that, I say to the conservatives, taking it back to where? Where are you going to take America back to? No, let that America go because that America did not include me.
That America includes that America. Wait a minute.
I'm looking at the America that was supposed to be intended as king.
That America certainly included
America
you.
needs to live
up
to
certainly
its
included
creed.
you. That America certainly included you. It certainly included you.
No. It included certain aspects of me.
No, the bottom line. The bottom line. No, it did not. The bottom line is, let me say this so we can be clear.
Yeah.
America has never focused on poor people and all that nonsense. All America does for anyone is afford them an opportunity. Black people are the only group of people in this country that were their right to pursue life, liberty, and happiness was impeded by law. Not
That's
because
what I'm talking about.
not by issue, but by law. So now. So now wait 1 second. So now the Supreme Court has said, well, guess what? You got all the law. The Supreme Court said last Monday, you got all the laws you need. You've had all the laws for the last. You need, and I've said this, Ted. I've said this for the last 30 years that black folks need to stop acting like this is the 60s and they're second-class citizens and start acting like Americans. See, we don't want to, as a group, don't want to stand up and deal with. I mean, what does a white man say when he doesn't get a job? Can he claim racism?
Well, what can he say?
A white woman. Can they claim racism?
What can he say? What can he say?
You know what he can say? You know what he can say?
What?
He can say what they say.
He ain't got nothing to say.
Wait a minute. The same thing. The same thing they say that I say and you would say is, you know what? I'm gonna get the next one. You know, and that's the way it works. That's the way it works.
And that's good for him and the talented 10.
No, it's good for us. No, it's good for us, Ted. It's good for us.
Mr. Butler, let me finish, okay? What I want to say here.
Okay. All right.
I'm in a kind of a run and gun battle, so to speak, with your good buddy Tavis Smiley and Cornell West.
Tavis ain't my good buddy. Tavis ain't my fucking good buddy. I know that Negro.
I knew I get you.
That nigga ain't my. Excuse my language. He ain't my good buddy. I know that Negro. With his sometimey, I'm all up in Obama's behind until they start putting in my family cell. I'm all with you until I asked you Obama,
that point, right?
Y'all coming at me? You know I've been with y'all for a long. Hey.
I'm sorry.
Man, you're making me laugh, man. Look, man. I gotta grab this other guest, but
all right, but
it's been great.
Listen,
it's been great being with you.
I wanted to talk about that. The next time we talk, I want to share with you the misnomer that those two cats are putting out here about who came to America. See, one group of us came on the Mayflower, the other of us came on the good ship Jesus. The two don't mix. But we'll talk about that in the future.
The good ship Jesus. If you call, I don't think so. Being in the hold of a slave ship, Jesus wasn't there.
That's what I'm talking about. That's the irony of the whole thing. They
no,
came
man,
on
it ain't
the
no irony. It ain't no irony.
They came willingly to this country.
Yeah.
Succeed
That's right.
or fail in their generation. That was their choice.
you know what I always say? We are not the sons and daughters of immigrants. We're the sons and daughters of slaves.
See,
and I'm proud of that.
And
I'm proud of that because
we
built this country.
Exactly. And the first ship to drop us off was the good ship Jesus. It was a slave ship, right? So I'm making that statement. And so what Tavis Smiley and them have done on their poverty tour, they run around telling everybody, white folks, Asians, Mexicans, everybody, we all poor now. We all on the same boat. So I pulled Tavis Smiley on this.
I got to run. I got to grab this other guest. I only got 10 minutes. Thanks, bro.
Anyway, thank you, brother. We'll talk in the future.
All right. That was Ted Hayes. Ted Hayes. You can tell he's a very energetic young man. My guy.